What's going on, football fans? It's me, J.R. Clark, back again with another Pound for Pound ATL. A little bit of a different segment this time, a little bit of a different show. But as always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Jonathan Holder and Toby D. How y'all doing this morning, gentlemen?
Oh man, I'm feeling good. I
There
mean,
it
I'm
is.
ready to get on and talk about these new things that we have going. I'm excited to just be back with you guys again. So that's exciting to me first and foremost.
There it is.
Jonathan, what you up to?
I've only had the one cup of coffee this morning, so we'll see how it goes. I haven't gotten the second one yet, so
Yeah, I
we'll
think
see.
you. Yeah, you'll make it. This we wanted to try to do something different with the second show during the week, especially during the year, right? During the off season, we tend to break down schemes, talk about like roster fits and all this other stuff. Well, that stuff's kind of behind us now, right? The team is what it is. Um, the we could do like previews of the upcoming game, but we kind of do that on Tuesdays when we talk about when we spend an hour and a half talking about just our Falcons. But the NFL isn't just the Falcons. And so there are interesting storylines that go on that we may not always be able to touch on or even talk about on Tuesdays because we're focusing on our team. So we felt like this Saturday video, in which now from here on out for the rest of this season, this video will be coming out, Saturday evenings, which is when you're seeing this. That we'll touch on some of the storylines that come up over the week and how they may affect our Falcons and how they may not affect our Falcons, or just things that we find interesting and want to talk about. So that's like the kind of setup in a sense for what this new show on Saturdays is going to be, and hopefully y'all enjoy it. So I guess without much further ado, let's go ahead and get into our first topic. Oh boy, man! If you are a New York Jets fan,
Oof.
like I'm not 100% sure that there's another fan base that is known for as much like bad stuff as the Falcons are in a sense. Like we're always making history, but the fans have, the butt fumble and the Rex Ryan with the, feet fetish and all. It's like they're always known for just the weird stuff, right?
Yep.
So this past Monday, was it Monday? Monday night or Sunday night? Sunday night. Uh Aaron Rodgers finally suits up for the New York Jets. It's been uh the drama all off season, right? They were on Hard Knocks and all this other jazz. There's been a lot of media attention on the Jets this whole off season. A lot of people with the acquisition of Aaron Rodgers consider them to be a Super Bowl team, right? They sure enough got the defense to be a Super Bowl team. They just needed consistent offensive play. Felt like they had that, or were going to have that in Aaron Rodgers. My man makes it 4 or 5
Four.
snaps.
It was four snap. It was the fourth
Four,
snap of the year.
yeah, fifth snap of the year, goes out with a torn Achilles. Like,
Yep.
Toby, what is that like? If you're in that fandom, like, is it just par for the course at this point?
What it is the Jets need to stop going after Green Bay quarterbacks because this once again has not worked in their favor. I mean, if they didn't learn from picking up Brett Favre in 2008, then I don't know what else to tell them. That didn't work out. That went into shambles. And then now you have this with Aaron Rodgers, which I kind of knew would probably go into shambles too, because they just don't work out that way. But for some reason, they seem to believe to go after Green Bay quarterbacks, and unfortunately this happened. I do believe it was. I think it was a Monday night football game because I think Dallas played on Sunday night and they whipped
Maybe
up
that's what
on
it
the
was. Yeah.
Giants. But unfortunately, this is what has happened, and now they're going to have to go back to the very guy that they tried to bench after taking him second overall a couple of years ago.
Hmm.
And so now it's just right back to Zach Wilson again. And Zach Wilson is probably sitting there, quietly laughing at the moment. Probably
Oh,
not
come on.
publicly because he don't want to, be put in the news on the front page for laughing at Aaron Rodgers' injury. But he's probably like, look here, y'all went after this guy, and now I'm right back leading the charge again. And I can tell you, Garrett Wilson is not happy. I can see that on Monday night when he was playing because they had no chemistry. And he was like, wow, I am back to this guy again. So,
Yeah,
hey, that's
I,
that.
I feel for anybody who took Garrett Wilson on their fantasy team. 'Cause-
Yeah. It, like that. Like it's the most like Jets thing possible to go out, spend this money, like whether they want to admit it or not, like Rogers had this wish list.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not a wish, maybe more like a hey, it would be cool if you guys were to maybe somehow sort of kind of get these guys. These guys are really good, yada yada yada. And they basically like bent over backwards. They did everything they could to try to make him feel as comfortable and as welcomed as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, even the thing that's even maybe a little more disappointing is like if you watch like the first 3 snaps before the ill-fated 4th snap, it didn't look like like Rogers was back there, would hit his back foot, and he was waiting, and was getting hit early on anyways. So things didn't quite seem to be quite there yet. But again, this is week 1.
Yeah, you were talking about 4 snaps in, but
Yeah.
like that was something I was going to bring up is, there already seemed to be like some not drama, but some like miscommunication or some friction in a sense, because like they were talking about Rodgers was already complaining about the cut blocks that the O linemen were doing.
Yep.
And to my understanding, those cut blocks were meant to open up windows for quick game,
Yep.
because the Jets knew they didn't have a great offensive line. So if you don't have a great offensive line and not the most mobile quarterback anymore, what do? Well, you got to get the ball out of his hand quickly.
Mhm.
And, it already seemed like Rodgers was going against what they wanted there. So, like, I'm not saying that had he been getting the ball out quicker, that this would have, wouldn't have happened. But there's an argument to be made that if he was following the game plan that they had set up,
Yep.
maybe he's not having to run around and dodge, rushers coming at him. So,
Yeah, it's the he probably had a lot of pressure to come in and actually like show something right away.
mhm,
To kind of like show the fans like, hey, this is what all the hype's about,
right.
right? So I could see him like trying to get a big play early on to like really hype up the crowd and get him going. I could see that, but still at the end of the day, like if this is like, hey, this is how our offensive line is going to work. Um, that everybody has to be on the same page on that.
No doubt.
Like to make sure that now granted, if they're trying to do the thing and everybody's agreed on it and it just doesn't work, kind of like the way the Falcons did week 1, like
Mhm,
we thought we were going to get better, maybe not like league topping, but we thought we were going to get better pass pro and we didn't. You have to adjust to that.
right.
Luckily we didn't have an injury to deal with in that respect, but maybe at this point it's like give it another 13, 14, 15 years. Jordan Love, maybe he shows up and they're thinking third time's a charm.
Yeah.
So
Just
Yeah.
try again, huh?
Hey,
let's try again.
just could happen. y'all hear a prediction of the future for the Jets from Jonathan right now on this
Jordan
show.
Love. 10,
Yeah.
Yep.
10 years from now, Jordan Love will be suiting up for the
Now,
Jets.
I'll say this last thing about it. I mean, we just had Aaron Rodgers like a few weeks ago. He was very upset with comments that Sean Payton made about Nathaniel Hackett, who is now his offensive coordinator, who was the former head coach of the Broncos. And y'all know Sean Payton made comments that was probably the worst coaching he had ever seen. I guess Aaron Rodgers need to keep Sean Payton's name out of his mouth instead of the other way around, because Sean Payton's New Orleans Saints, that voodoo job, and
Yeah.
Sean Payton might have put some
My,
voodoo on him, and
my,
then torn Achilles all of a sudden because you made comments about that. So he might need to keep his mouth shut about Sean Payton
uh,
at all costs.
he might
Yep.
want to. Well, either way, I feel for the Jets fan base and like their front office putting in that much money and resources into, like, you pushed all your chips into the table, and just to have it blow up in your face like 4 snaps into the season, that's gotta be rough.
Yep.
So like they haven't necessarily had a franchise quarterback since Joe Namath in Super Bowl III. So it's like
Come
that's
on,
just tough.
they had Vinny Testaverde, man.
How could I
Oh
forget?
yeah, they did. Oh man.
How could I forget?
And they had Curtis Martin, one of the greatest running backs of all time, man, over there. So they did have some good luck in some aspects, but
Couldn't
hey,
cash in.
All I
Uh,
know is that defense, they're going to have to lean on that defense
oh yeah, just like they
super
did
hard.
last
And
year.
yeah,
luckily, that defense looks real good.
Yeah,
yes,
hopefully,
yes,
hopefully
that
Aaron
part.
Rodgers can do some tutelage to Zach Wilson and keep his head in the game, and maybe they can be a contender. Who knows? They did
Yeah,
beat
maybe
Buffalo,
so.
so
Yeah.
Yep.
all right. So on to our next topic. One that caught our attention, obviously because of the performance that the Falcons had. But Toby, what you got for me on the running back tandems?
Well, very interesting. Like you said about the Falcons, it made me go back and look around the league and see what other teams are forming a 1-2 punch.
Hmm.
And I'm seeing quite a few teams are doing that right now. Now, they are not currently in my top five that I have right now. I had a top 10, but I narrowed it down to a top five. But there are some interesting ones, and what the Atlanta Falcons will have to play. And I'll tell you one, Derrick Henry and Tyjae Spears, they're going to have to see them this season, as well as you're going to have to see this week, DJ, AJ Dilliard, and
Yeah,
Aaron
AJ Dillon
Jones that
and
we're going to have to see on Sunday. Now, AJ was a little quiet week one, and Aaron did all the going off, but those guys, when they get going together, they are a tandem to be messed with. But my top five right now, coming out of week one, I'm just going to tell y'all, so don't cry. It is not the Atlanta Falcons. Okay.
blasphemy.
So
No, I'm just kidding.
I just wanted to go ahead and tell y'all because I'm not a biased guy when it comes to just looking around the league. Since it's our new segment, I was trying to not be as biased as possible.
There you go.
But I'm going to tell you a number one right now on my list that two guys you may not want to watch out for after week one is the LA Chargers, Austin Eckler and Joshua Kelly.
Yeah, they look
Um,
good.
they had a monster week one with 208 yards
Whew.
between the both of them. The carries were split up 16 apiece, 5.8 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns after week one performance. My number two is, of course, the Jets with Brees Hall, who made a comeback after his injury last season, and Dalvin Cook, who they just added in the season. Now, of course, Dalvin Cook was a little slow getting going because he just got on the offense, but nonetheless, both of those guys together had 160 yards total. Now they
Mhm.
didn't have any touchdowns, but that's a
Yeah,
lot of yards for
I'm about to
your
say,
running back.
and you got to figure that the Jets are going to like want to lean on them with Rodgers being
Yeah.
down. Like that
Mm-hmm.
could be
Yeah.
the
Yep.
catalyst for their offense.
And it
Um,
seemed like
yeah.
it seemed like every time Brees Hall touched the ball, he was off for like 20, 30 yards.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
literally, like
He
they
looked
handed
Yeah.
good.
it was like offense isn't doing anything. Hand it to Brees Hall, 30 yards downfield. Sweet.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. And this
Man.
is what we expected for him to do coming out of
Hmm.
college.
Yep.
Before that injury happened, and he's starting to develop into that guy that we thought he would be when he got drafted by the Jets. Now my number three is of course the Atlanta Falcons. Now, that might go up with Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson because I see these guys probably being more special than the top five that I have on here.
Right.
As hard as that might be with my number five, that many people will probably shoot me about when I say they're the number five team of the running back channels when I get to it. But those two guys, y'all know, had a pretty decent week one, had 3 touchdowns total, 2 rushing on the ground by Tyler Algier, of course, himself, and 1 passing with Bijan Robinson, which was pretty good for your two running back tandems.
Right.
My number four, of course, in the same division, the team we just played, the Carolina Panthers with Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard. Now, despite the fumble that Miles Sanders had, which worked very well for us with Jesse Bates turning that over, they had 132 yards on the ground. No touchdowns because our defense kept them out the end zone. But still, these two guys are somebody we're going to have to see again later on in the year. So they
Hmm.
could be a tandem to watch out for in the NFL. And my number five is the Cleveland Browns
Uh,
with Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford.
that
Um,
that's a good tandem there. Like Nick
Yes.
Chubb in and of himself, but even Jerome Ford, who we highlighted coming out of college as somebody that we felt like,
Hmm.
the Falcons might be interested in because he gives you, a lot of what, Bijan, we hope that Bijan is going to give us. Maybe
Yeah.
not as, especially talented, but has a lot of the similar skill set.
Yeah. But they did have 142 yards, 33 rushes between the two of them, averaging 5.2 yards per carry. Everybody, the top five I had over at least 4.5 yards per carry. And the other thing that they all have in common is they have QBs with mobility ability.
Right.
So that is something to watch out for too with these top five teams right
It's
now. But there are other teams that have running back tandems around the league.
it's a like I chuckle because you can see a trend starting to form now. Where it
Yeah.
goes and how long it lasts, like remains to be seen. But you take the Thursday night game, the Minnesota Vikings versus
Hmm.
the Philadelphia Eagles. Like Kirk Cousins throws for 4 touchdowns and almost 400 yards, but who ends up winning? Philadelphia, with on the back of almost 200 yards rushing from
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift
Yep.
and 2 rushing touchdowns from Jalen Hurts. And I'm not
Hmm.
saying that.
Those were
Uh,
stolen too.
oh, the touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're cheap, whatever. I get that. But what I'm saying is that, you know, for the past decade to decade and a half, this has been a passing league. And if you didn't have somebody who could air it out, you didn't have much of an opportunity to win. Well, what you're
Hmm.
starting to see now is that, the game is cyclical and things come back around, right? And the resurgence of the rushing game is really
Hmm.
starting to uh, bring its back around. You've always had to be able to run the ball, but it was when been pass dominant for so long that now it's starting to seem like it's becoming rush dominant. Like you
Yeah.
think about, and I think that has a lot to do with it's harder and harder to find a franchise quarterback. So instead of piling everything on the back of the quarterback and saying, "Hey, you single handedly have to win it for us,"
Yeah.
they're starting to figure out different ways to, get quarterbacks going. Um, and so you like I kind of look at like San Francisco with Brock Purdy. It's not like he's amazing, but he's
Yeah.
able to play point guard and distribute the ball,
Right.
Yep.
which is what if you can't find a Mahomes or an Allen, then what we're trying to do now is develop an offense that the quarterback can be successful, even if he's just a point guard, basically.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean,
So yeah.
if you have a guy like that, uh, the San Francisco model is definitely the way to go. Simply because like they have a really good offensive line,
mhm.
and you give Brock Purdy the time to be able to find. All you got to do is just find an open guy, get it to him. Like,
Yep.
and I say that saying that it's easy because you could have open guys and still miss them,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
But so you still have to be able to do that. But at the end of the day, most quarterbacks that make it to the NFL can do that for the most part, even if it's not perfect. But so you give a lot of quarterbacks that kind of time with those kind of weapons that are and that kind of scheme that is going to scheme guys open. And if all the if it's executed properly, it looks beautiful.
Well,
Yeah.
it's the college game coming up, is what it
Hmm.
is. It's the
Yes.
college game coming up into the NFL.
How soon do we
So,
start seeing the
go ahead.
signs go up on the sidelines in the NFL
I don't know. I
with
think
like
that would be
having everybody look at the sideline?
yeah, that'd be a rules thing, right? And kind
Yeah.
of getting into the rules thing. First part of that is like, should they like we were talking about the running back tandem, should
Yeah.
they outlaw the tush push? Like, do you like it or not? There's part of me that's like, I like it to an extent. I think they let it go on too long. You know, like what I mean by that is like you'll get the big pile, and then here comes everybody trying to
I don't
push
know.
the
Yeah.
pile, like the entire. I don't
Yeah.
think you should be able to like push the entire pile because it should be when forward momentum is stopped.
Mhm.
And if forward, like I think they should blow it dead much quicker than they do. That's my thoughts on where, like, because it's almost impossible to stop like a yard away. I don't know why you don't do it every time. You know?
Well, the biggest problem with the tush push is like, yeah, you the only like technically, if you were if you knew for a fact that they were going to do it, like you can defend it because you're actually technically going to have one more guy than they have, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna have that 11th guy. So if you were to put all 11 guys, like 6 across the front, like guys either right behind him or like kind of in between them. If you were to do all that kind of stuff, you could probably do it. The problem is, you start doing that, they're gonna like line up like they're
Pop
gonna
pass.
do it, and
Yeah.
then they're just gonna pop out with like a play action kind of deal.
Mhm.
And so yeah, it's one of those situations where you still have to. The defense is at a disadvantage there because they can't. They still have to be able to defend the pass,
Right.
right? Uh, Now, what I'll say is, like, I get it from a defensive standpoint. That sucks. And I know the NFL doesn't like it because it's not pretty,
No,
right?
it's not. It's not exciting. It's not, flashy. But
It's exciting if you're, say, the a Phillies fan
oh yeah,
or
yeah.
an Eagles
If it's
fan.
your team doing it, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, but and I get it from a standpoint of I like it because it's that physicality.
Hmm.
Like it harkens back to rugby, like the rugby scrum.
No,
Just
the rugby's.
guys
Yep.
getting in there, shoulder to shoulder, and just pushing a big mountain of men. You know, just like pushing against another big mountain of men. Like I
Hmm.
get that from a standpoint, right?
Right.
You know, but at the same time, like there's so many things that go against that make things much more difficult on a defense in the modern NFL.
Oh yeah.
That
If you went rule by rule and
yeah,
said, "Oh, this is benefits the offense. This benefits the defense."
yep,
Mhm.
Like if you went rule by rule, like you would be overwhelmingly balanced, or like overwhelmingly on the offensive, benefiting the offense than the defense.
yep.
Toby, what do you think about the push play? Is that something that you would like to go away, or you fine with it? It's on the defense to stop it.
Now make sure I understand it. This is where you talking about guys trying to push their guy into the end zone or help
Right.
him get more extra yards. Yeah, I love it. Do not ever change that because that to me shows a true team effort, right? You're trying to help push your guy over the line, touchdown, whatever the case may be, to get the extra yards, to get the touchdown. I'm all for that because the Falcons did it. So I'm not going to take it away. Let's just be honest right now. I mean, we did it with Devontae Freeman. We've seen that
Oh yeah.
happen a few times with him, and the team just gets excited. The offense just gets pumped when that happens. If you don't like a defense, stop it. I mean,
Figure
we
out how
we
to stop
saw
it.
it.
Right.
Yeah, so we saw us do it against the Jets in 2021. Y'all remember we was up there in London and we pushed our guy on in there to get that
Mhm.
touchdown. I can't remember if it was Cordell Patterson. I think it was Cordell whom we
Think-
did that with, and we did it against New Orleans Saints last year, week 1. So I love it. I love it, man, because it just gets the offense hype when they all pitch in to help get their guy
Yeah.
over
Well,
that goal line and whatever they need to do.
so I will say, and I don't know the exact play you're talking about, so I don't know exactly what it looked like. I don't have a problem with, for example, say you get a running play to whether it's CP or anybody else. They run through this traditional running play. They run 10 yards down the field. They're just about at the goal line or first down or whatever. And it's like they're momentarily stopped. And then you have offensive linemen following behind him that come and grab him and push him forward. Don't mind that. I love that. Absolutely love to see that. And I'm not saying that I want the tush push for like QB sneaks to necessarily go away, but I can understand from a competitive standpoint why, and also from an image like optics standpoint, maybe
Hey,
why
you're
the
talking
NFL
about
would want to discuss it.
Yeah, you're talking about like what Philly does, where they line up and then you have like basically the diamond behind Jalen Hurts,
Yep.
and then everybody converges and pushes. But it's the same concept. If you were to outlaw one, you then have to outlaw the other.
Yeah, well,
So
because they do have it outlawed. You can't pull,
yeah, you
right?
can't.
So you can't get you can't come back to him, grab him, and pull him forward.
Right,
Right.
right. You
As
have
long
to.
as you're behind him, you can
Yeah.
push
Yeah.
him. And so yeah, if you get rid of one, you
Yeah.
probably have to get rid of the other.
Yep.
And I'm not sure that I would want that.
So going in, like transitioning into the next, like, is it a stupid rule or not? From the Thursday night game, you had Justin Jefferson, Jordan Jefferson. Yeah, Justin Jefferson catch a pass, make the football move, stretch out trying to get to the pylon, and fumbles the ball through the end zone out the other side, or out of bounds, which then becomes a touchback.
Mhm.
And so now, like, instead of it being a touchdown, the Phillies get the ball at the 25. And they take over possession. And when it first happened, I was like, man, that's a stupid rule to me. When I first saw it, because I was like, nowhere else on the football field
Mhm.
do you, if you fumble it out of bounds, does it then just go over to the other team, right? Like if he would have fumbled it at the 1, they would have had the ball at the 1.
Hmm.
So,
Or it would have gone back to wherever the fumble
well,
began.
that's what I'm saying. Like, say he fumbled it at the 1 is what I was getting at. Like, say the
Yeah.
ball, that's where they determined it. That's where they would have gotten the ball, right? But the fact that it goes out the side of the end zone or even the back of the end zone, it's a touchback, and the other team gets it. And I'm like, logistically, to me, that doesn't make any sense, because I guess what the thought process, and I tried to read the rules to see if I could get any more clarity of why the end zone makes that big of a difference, and I couldn't come up with anything. So my only figure is that they think that, I don't know. I have no clue why the end zone means that, other than it's a rule to me that starts to kind of balance out in harshness defensive pass interference.
Yep.
Because I've always said defensive pass interference is a harsh rule on the defense. Like, as far as you could turn a horrible pass into a 50-yard gain.
Mhm.
So maybe it's a fine. This is the defense getting one. You know what I'm saying? Because logically, it doesn't make any sense to me. What are y'all's thoughts on, Toby? What's your thoughts on that?
I love it. I'm glad it's happening because the defense finally does get a win in this situation. Look, you if you know you can't hold on to the ball and secure it while you're trying to get over the power line or cross over it to get that cheap touchdown that you're trying to get crossing over because you feel you 6'3" or whatever, and you can extend out, then you need to make sure you hold on to the ball. If you
Mm,
can't hold on to the ball and you let it go into the end zone because you can't hold on to it, yes, give it to the other team. Now, I know there's going to be controversy because if you get a drive that could be a possible winning drive or a tying drive and this happens, then yeah, there's going to be a lot of flack about that. But nonetheless, give the defense some kind of win, right? Because
right.
offense has so much in their favor. And to go back to the running back tandem, I'm going to show you about that. Offenses always find a way to get ahead. Okay. Once they see the trends going, they always find a way to get one up over the defense. So many teams have gone to these smaller defenses. So now what are offenses doing? They're going back to the running game.
Yep,
Now, I
bulking up.
always say, if you're going to present a problem, then you need to have an answer to the problem. And the Falcons have done that. They've not only presented running back problems, they've gone out and gotten bigger, athletic, and faster guys now because you're going to need those type of guys to try to help stop the run. So they
Right.
went out of just having small defenses. So that's the same thing right there because offenses are always looking for an advantage. And hey, it's about doggone time. Let's go, baby. Give it to them.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Like I said, my initial thought was like, that's stupid. They should change that. No. Then, but the more I thought about it, yes, still logically, it doesn't make any sense why it goes over to the defense, other than maybe they saw it as an opportunity to like I said, give the defense a win. You
Yeah.
know, as we said earlier, you stack up all the rules and go, this is a benefits the offense, this benefits the defense. It's going to be overwhelmingly offense. Jonathan, what's
Yeah.
your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm in the same camp as Toby. Like,
Hmm.
I want to keep it. I don't think it's. Is it an arbitrary or dumb rule? Maybe, but at the end of the day, it's you know, uh, it's a situation. It's kind of the one thing that outside of an actual turnover, right?
Right.
But it's the one thing that just by rule can really like swing the entire like an entire game,
Oh yeah,
right?
and that
That
did
an
because like
offense, yeah,
Minnesota
uh,
was driving and
Mm-hmm.
looked like they were fixing to like take the momentum of the game. Because at the
but
time Philly was fumbling quite a bit, not
and
fumbling, but just stumbling.
yeah, and it's one of those situations where you know, like you said, if you're at the 50-yard line and you fumble it and it goes out of bounds, at the 45-yard line in front of them, yeah, they go back to the 50, but they still keep possession, right?
Right.
But if it goes out of the end zone, that gives it that. Otherwise, like a guy who is running for the touchdown, dives and tries to put his arm out, like like Vic did, like a lot of other guys have done, where they try to put that ball inside the pylon. The reason why that play is so exciting and so like almost terrifying is because you have the risk that if you can't hold on to that ball, if you lose possession of that ball, even an inch from the goal line,
Yeah, and it goes
and it goes through the end zone, everything that you've worked for to that point done,
gone. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But so if you take that away, if you basically say, okay, we're changing the rule now. If it goes through the end zone, then it goes back to where he fumbled the ball. Okay, well then what did you lose other than the touchdown? You literally lost an inch.
yeah. You get to try again. So no, yeah, I get it.
You get to try again. So like the 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 drama of the moment is lost, right, in that situation. And you'll see guys, like Justin Jefferson actually wasn't like, if you watch that play, he wasn't trying to reach for the end zone. He wasn't. He actually had it right here. And then like maybe he was getting
I
ready
must
to,
say his arm was.
but no, well, but that was after the ball was already like by when his arm was out here,
Uh,
that ball was already gone. Like that
he'd
ball
already.
was already loose.
I got you.
Now he may have been like moving it towards that,
Yeah.
but it was still close to his body when that ball started to come loose. So he was when his arms go out, it's him trying to gather that back in,
Right.
right?
I see where
And
you're going.
and yeah, but so like it's just one of those situations where personally, me, I don't want my guys like if I'm an offensive guy, an offensive coach, okay, um, in
Yeah.
almost no situation am I wanting my guy to put that ball out there
Yeah. I was
in
about to
that
say
kind of
I'm
situation.
I'm I'm wanting you to secure the ball. I'd much rather
Yeah,
have another shot at the end zone
yep.
versus, like you said, losing it. So
Especially in that situation, like give me four more opportunities at the one.
right. Yep. Yep.
Like,
Give me more
if you
opportunities
don't
at it.
make it in, you don't make it in, and I hate it for you. And I know you want to add to those stats because that's going to make you more money, and I get it. But at the end of the day, just like we talked about, after the game on Sunday with the Falcons, like, I understand these guys. They want to get their catches, they want to get their runs, they want to get their touchdowns, they want to get all these things. But at the end of the day, the most important thing by
Mhm.
far should be
Winning.
getting the win for your team. And if
That's
that
it.
means that game you missed out on a touchdown because you didn't put that ball out there, but you held on to it, got down at the one, and then we got four more tries and we eventually scored that touchdown, whether it was by you or somebody else, doesn't really matter. Do what is
Hmm.
best for the team at any given time as best you can.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because you want to be the hero, And
Oh yeah.
you see a chance to be the hero of the game. I mean, we don't see Julio Jones do it many times, but he hadn't had that kind of unfortunate situation when he's done it. But you get some guys they're fortunate where that doesn't happen to them. Then you get to Justin Jefferson's where that does happen to them, and so it's just kind of
Yep.
a toss up at this point. But however the case, hey,
Yeah, hey,
that's what happens. Whether
that's
he's
that's,
And
that's the
trying
way
not
the
to
ball
do it,
bounces.
it's also not something that like is an epidemic of this
No,
kind of a
it's
situation happening.
right?
Like this is a situation that pops up every now and
ever
then.
right.
Most of the time, if a guy reaches out, it's a touchdown. Like that's what happens most of the time.
Well, it's
But
like
there's
the
always that slim chance
yeah.
that this situation can happen, and it's that risk that makes it exciting.
Yeah,
It's like the catch rule, like
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
what's a catch? That really only pops up once or twice a year, not enough to
yeah.
be an epidemic. All
What
right.
I like now, though, one
Yep.
last thing is that now you're going to see defenses starting to practice this now, where they can knock that ball out before it even before it gets to the goal line, to force that player to knock it out, to force
Oh
that
yeah.
player to lose it. Now that
Yep.
they know that this is a rule that they can do, so you're going to see teams actually practicing this to see how they can get an advantage on the defense side of the ball to force that ball out over the goal line before it can become a touchdown.
If you ain't if you ain't trying to exploit everything, you ain't trying to win.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
on to the final and newest segment. Something that hopefully y'all enjoy. Depending on how the metrics turn out, this might be the only time we do it. No, I'm just kidding. But we are going to pick the games. Dun, 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 dun,
Oh man, let's
for
go.
all of week 2. Now at this point, yes, the Thursday game has played, but we picked it. So just know that that game was picked before the game was actually played. So just for like authenticity sake. So we're gonna add to the stage. Now these are in no particular order, and I don't even know if I don't have it in this team at this team. Like I wasn't putting that much effort into it, so to speak. So these are the teams that are playing, and this is who we're picking. So starting off with the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams. As you can see, all three of us, no real drama there. All three of us picked the San Francisco 49ers to win. That defense looks dominant. And right now, until they really show otherwise, I'm assuming that they're going to get picked, quite a bit, especially if they play with the consistency that they played with in week 1. Is there anything y'all want to add on that one?
Rams still don't have Cooper Cup, right?
No.
As far as I know.
Yeah, as
So
far as I know, they don't have Cooper Cup. Puka Nuka looks pretty good. Joshua Kelly, no, that's the Chargers. I really wish both of those guys weren't in LA because that messes with me. But anyway, and have the same colors too, like yellow,
Yep.
blue, and white. Anyway, all right, on to next one. Falcons and Green Bay. We're not homers. We're definitely not
No.
homers.
Not at all. Who's
Yeah,
a
we're not
homer?
homers. So yes, well, obviously we picked the Falcons to win. Like if Aaron Jones looks like he might be out. Christian Watson looks like he might be out.
Yeah.
One of their linebackers is in concussion protocol. Don't know 100% if he's going to play. There's things that push it to our favor. Now, granted, Troy Anderson's out for us, but other than that, it looks like we might be even getting CP and Jeff Okuda back. So who
Yep.
knows? It's
Well,
at home.
for sure, I think it's for sure we're getting CP back.
Yeah.
Akuda is
Yes.
questionable,
Right.
but he practiced a
Last
good
couple days,
portion
huh?
of the week.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Chicago versus the Buccaneers. I'm on an island here.
Yes, you are.
I think that
All by yourself.
yes, I know. Okay, I know. Even as much even though I'm like befuddled by why everybody chooses to defend Justin Fields, I actually think that it's a close game, and I think he might be the deciding factor. Y'all got that much trust in Tampa's defense? I'm assuming.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Toby said, yeah.
they like if you look at that defense, that was the defense that held Justin Jefferson. Now, granted, Justin Jefferson went off with like yardage.
Yeah.
He got his, but nobody else really did.
Right.
And they held that team to what
17.
17 points.
Yep. Yep. 17 points.
So like to me, the Bears, like you look at JT Daniels, the QB school, For that.
Yeah, I have not watched that hour long. I'm going
Oh,
to, but
he goes off. He's
yeah,
like, "What are we doing here on
yeah,
with regards to that offense?"
yeah,
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
granted, my understand. I haven't watched the game.
yeah,
Okay, my understanding is they really they were pushing the passing game a lot that game
Yeah.
and was not successful with it and then later in the game, like real late in the game, they started running the ball and had some success. So
right.
maybe they switch it off
Start
and
up,
were like, okay, we're gonna run it to open up the pass instead of trying to go the other way around finally
right.
after
Yeah.
busting our heads on a brick wall for 3.5 quarters.
All right.
Yeah. Well,
So
I watched
maybe
it.
that happens.
Okay.
I watched it, and
No,
other than that first little bit in the quarter, DJ Moore got the team hype when he was carrying guys with him after a pass that Justin Fields gave him. They were sloppy for the rest of that day, and that offense was just bad. I mean, you look on the sidelines, and even the announcer said the looks on their face right now on that sidelines in Chicago explains everything with how they're feeling right now. But they were just in just disarray, and they were just out of it. They had their mental momentum had
was gone.
left the building.
Well, hopefully I'm not chasing fool's gold here. So we'll see. All right. On to the Bills and Raiders. I think the Bills get a bounce back here. Looks like all three of us feel like the Bills are going to get a bounce back. So
This
no,
the, I think that Bills game is going to be like the old Tom Brady Patriots where like they come off a weird loss somehow or
and then just
another,
the next
and
team
then
is just
they are pissed the next week.
Toby's on an island here with the
Yeah,
Broncos. He's thinking that Sean Payton's going to get his first win. Toby, is there something that you see in that makes you think that they're going to get the win?
it's the Washington Commanders, man. I mean,
Okay,
look,
yeah,
they did ink out a win last week, but they didn't look that good doing it. And I
I got
think
you.
the Broncos actually had a better look when they was on the field. They just, first game together with Sean Payton, they just, couldn't come away with the win. I think Sean Payton's team, the Broncos, got way more talent than the Commanders do, and I think that they're going to be able to come out on the offensive side of the ball and push that defense around a little bit.
Yeah, I just think that the defensive line for the Commanders is just going to be more than Russell Wilson can handle. Like that was almost solely how I was basing that. And Jonathan shaking his head, so I'm assuming you pretty much agree.
Yeah, I personally, and if he proves me wrong, awesome.
Right.
I think Russell Wilson is washed.
Yeah.
I honestly think this guy is basically like he has fallen off a cliff.
Yep.
And I don't think he can climb back out of it. I
Mm.
just don't. I mean, can they win some games this year? Sure. And may they win this game?
Maybe.
Possibly, because the Washington Commanders probably are not going to be a very good team. But that defense looks absolutely legit. And if you're expecting Russell Wilson to go against that defense, I would not expect
Yep.
Well, they do
Nope.
have a running back tandem over there,
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Javante
Brian.
Williams and
Who's the?
Samaje Perine.
Yep. P.
So
Ryan.
they're gonna have to deal with that.
All right.
Yeah,
So
but
Jonathan.
it's Sean Payton. That dude like will get a running game going and then completely abandon it for the rest of the game. That's just how he rolls.
So Jonathan's on an island here. He's picking the Browns to beat the
I like these
Steelers. You think the
islands.
Steelers go 0-2? So what's your defense of that, John? We'll make this.
that the Cleveland Browns defense.
I
That
got you.
defense
Yeah, well, I mean, look, Miles
looks
Garrett was playing
for real.
basketball, so
Yeah.
that was insane.
Yeah,
All right.
that defense looks for real. Deshaun Watson, while wasn't like spectacular or anything like that, they've got, like you said, one of the better running back duos in the league. I think that defense is going to for the Steelers just is not going to be able to contain that running game.
Well, I think
They don't have Hayward now.
well, yeah, it's a division foe though, so that's always
Yes,
a weird games. All
I'm
right.
just telling you.
Keep pushing. And we got looks like all of us think that the Chargers are going to bounce back after that crazy game against the Dolphins. They showed that they had plenty of offense. Tennessee showed that it did not. So
Yep.
if that continues, then yeah, we all should be on the winning side there. Colts versus Texans. We all are going with the Colts. You're putting in the first game, you're asking CJ Stroud to throw 40 something times. Yes, I know he didn't throw a pick or anything, but you can't keep doing that to a rookie. that's going to come back to bite you. The running ability of Anthony Richardson, I think, is enough to kind
Yeah.
of push the Texans over.
I mean, I just
Or the
think the
Colts over.
Colts. I think the Colts defense is looking pretty good. It's not
Right.
looking like world beaters or anything, but they're looking pretty good. And I just if you're gonna put your rookie quarterback out there on on an island, so to speak, like throwing it 40 times a game.
Uh-huh.
Oof, oof.
Yeah, that's tough. All right, Cowboys and Jets. Obviously, we're until the Cowboys. We just spent the first part of the show talking about it. I don't see the Jets being able to overcome that Cowboys defense with Zach Wilson. Maybe if they get their running game really going, but I doubt it. Again, we all agree on that one. We all agree on this one. Good Lord, guys, we need to mix it up a little bit, son.
We gotta mix it up, man.
But I mean, come on.
We've been mixing it up pretty good all. But I mean, come on, this
yeah,
Arizona
right.
Cardinals
You're
are
not
a
taking
mess,
the Cardinals, right? The Cardinals are an absolute joke. Anyway, moving on. Now, I'm on an island here. I think the Chiefs start 0-2, and
Ooh,
right, which
wow.
I say that because yes, they're probably going to get back Kelsey and they're probably going to get back Jones, but those guys haven't played a game at this point. Calvin Ridley and Trevor Lawrence look pretty good week 1. So is Mahomes going to be able to match the firepower, which is odd to say for Mahomes. That was my thought process there. I guess I'm the only one that really needed to defend.
Yeah, no, here's what I'll say about Kelsey. Jones, it may take him a couple of quarters to kind of get up to speed, but I think he'll start to show, and he may show snap 1, but I think second half of that game is where he'll kind of come into his
well,
own.
it's you gotta think he hasn't been there at all.
Yeah,
it's not like he's just missed a game.
Yeah,
So anyway, so that's my thoughts there.
But Kelsey, I think Kelsey could just he could have skipped all of OTAs, he could have skipped all of preseason. And him and Mahomes have such a great connection that they could literally walk on the field and be like, "So I'm going to do this," and they've just got that mental whatever.
We'll see.
I just I don't think it matters too much.
All right, Seahawks Lions. We think Seahawks start 0-2. Lions look good. I think they continue to look good. It's actually a more daunting task in a few weeks for the Falcons than I would have thought, but we'll see. All right, Dolphins and Patriots. Jonathan's on an island by himself. You really think that Bill Belichick's going to be able to slow down the Dolphins that much? Because
I think if there's anybody that can with that team, it is Belichick. I think Belichick is one of I've just seen it too many times. I've seen it too many times, and I'm not that the offense actually looked pretty good, a lot better than I thought it was going to look.
Yeah, they gave Philadelphia some fits there.
Yeah. So and I don't have any I don't have any confidence so far in the Dolphins defense. Granted, you went up against Justin Herbert and those guys, but you gave up a ton of points. I mean, an absolute ton of points. And I think that Bill Belichick, when he can scheme up ways to take Tyreek Hill out of the game, or at least off his game, or contain him to the point where the Dolphins are definitely a team that I see as, if you can make Tua have to go the length of the field, at some point he's going to give you an opportunity to take that ball back, because he, along with his coach, get impatient. And they will try to force things.
We'll see. All right. You're on an island again, my friend.
All right. He's breaking it. Now he's breaking up the monotony.
Yeah, he is. I think the Bengals get right in this game. I don't think you're going to get another showing from Burrow like that. Toby, is that kind of what you were thinking as well?
Yeah, I believe it too. And then I mean, the Ravens aren't exactly week 1 world beaters, so I think that you'll get to see Cincinnati Bengals come back, even though it's another division game that they got to face after getting beat down by the Browns. This is their second division game already in 2 weeks. So I do believe they'll bounce back though.
Saints and Panthers. Unfortunately, all of us picked the Saints.
I literally hated doing it. I think when I sent you my picks, I literally said Saints and then in parentheses, ugh.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's exactly. Yeah, it was so. Rookie QB, like he made some decent throws, but I just don't think he's there yet. So I think Dennis Allen and that defense will be able to give Bryce Young some fits. And he does not like Bryce Young's got an absolute menace of a receiving, core.
Do we know if DJ Chark is back?
I think he's getting close. I don't know if he's back yet, but yeah. So we all picked the Saints there, obvious reasons. Like I said, I was on an island last night or Thursday night with the Vikings. I thought that they would be able to give the Philadelphia some fits, which they did, and I thought that they'd actually be able to win. But I guess Philadelphia took the air out of the ball when they started running it, and um, the Vikings were striking just a little too quick. So
To be completely honest, like watching that game, like the Vikings like gave that game away.
they did. They fumbled three or four times. So
Yeah.
it was all
They
them.
actually looked like watching that game. If you take, you can do this with any game, but like they looked like the better team on that field.
Yeah,
offensively and defensively, which was shocking.
yeah, they're like the Eagles got a lot to work on, but you'd much rather be working on that with 2 wins than 2 losses. And their coach said as much. Well, that's our picks for this week. Going forward, at the end of the picks, we'll have a tally sheet of how each of us did. That way we can keep track. We may even do like a season overall at the bottom, and we'll just have fun with it. But we appreciate y'all sticking with us with this new segment here. A little longer winded than I was intending on and hoping for. May try to shrink that down a little bit as we go. But anyway, as always, y'all can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128. That's GRIMM1128. Toby.
Toby D 1991.
Jonathan.
At Jonathan M. Holder. Come by, say hi.
Hey, we'll be back live on Tuesday, hopefully talking about a win. Make sure y'all come back and join us where we'll spend a whole hour and a half talking about our Dirty Birds. Hope y'all enjoyed this segment, and we'll see y'all again. As always, Falcons fans, rise up.
Rise up.
Rise up.